Hi, this is Lee Langdon. Today on the podcast, we get to know Josh Coalson. Our young adults might know Josh as the kind fellow in the back of the room in the AV booth, wearing the cool British golfer-looking hat called a flat cap. Josh's tech career launched as a young boy helping out his grandfather with his TV show in Indiana. We talk about video game community and playing D&D. Guys, Josh is a good friend. I hope you'll get to know him. Okay, let's jump in. Welcome to the Young Adult World podcast. Josh Coalson, welcome to the Young Adult World podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Man, I'm so glad that you're with me. This is fantastic.
I was wondering that.
Well, Josh, I met you pretty much immediately when I got here. You were sitting behind the AV desk pretty much from the start, way before I got here. But we're going to talk about that. We have to start at the beginning, Josh.
It started a long, long time ago in a state far away, also known as Indiana. But
Were you born in Indiana?
Yeah, born and raised. I thought I would die there.
What town were you born in?
Fort Wayne. Well, yeah, Fort Wayne.
Where is Fort Wayne in Indiana?
Fort Wayne is in the northeast. It's like half an hour away from Ohio, hour and a half away from Michigan.
Is that where your family was from all the years before that?
Both of my grandparents moved around a lot. My grandfather on my mom's side was a preacher, and then he ended up in Indiana.
So Indiana, did you go to grade school there?
Oh yeah, I went there from pre-K to 12. It was one of those things where it's like most people there are like, hey, I don't like living here. I want to go somewhere else, you know?
What was young Josh like?
Oh my gosh, he's that type of person. You know, the questionable, edgy one.
I don't know what this means. Were you like a rough skateboarder or something?
I was definitely not the rough skateboarder kind.
How would you describe middle school Josh?
Introverted. Did things himself, you know, just kept to himself.
So something quieted you down. What was that?
Everyone just disappeared.
Like in a movie, they all vanished one day.
Yeah, one by one, all the friends disappeared. I went to a school that was pretty small, so it was like people just started disappearing, and I didn't really keep up with people.
So when you say disappeared, these are friends that were just moving out of Indiana or out of your town going somewhere else. Their families would pick up and go.
Yeah.
And you were just kind of left alone, you felt like.
Yeah, because I remember in 5th grade, it was like dwindled down to 4 of us, and the other 3 were girls.
What were some things you were involved in when you were in high school?
I mean, it was really just like school and the young adults of my church. So my grandfather, the preacher, ended up making the church that I went to. It's called Southwinds. He made it 2 years after I was born. And so what happened was I was involved in that, right? Going to the young adults for that. Or the young adults. The youth. Sorry.
The youth group. You're involved in the youth group at Southwinds.
Because that's how like me and Grant, another guy, met. Grant Reinl.
Grant here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Grant and you go all the way back to high school.
Yeah. The whole how did you all get to OC? It's very simple. It's just our friend Colton went to us during a Sunday night. And they're like, hey, you guys want to go to college with me? Because I know you guys want to do engineering. And we both looked at him and went, okay. That was literally it. That is what defined me and Grant's next decade.
Yeah, the whole past decade has been based on this decision to come to OC because a friend said, hey, why don't you two come to school with me and study engineering? So you studied computer science. Computer engineering at OC. Mm-hmm. Were you into computers in high school? Was this something that was already developing? Like, what made you think computer engineering other than Colton?
Well, it's a bit like Pokemon. We had computer engineering, electrical engineering, and mechanical engineering. We all had to choose one. I've always kind of liked tech. Like 3rd or 4th grade, where my grandfather, my preaching grandfather, he had a plan for outreach. Mind you, this is like 2005, 2006, right? And he has a plan for outreach where he wants to have everyone in Fort Wayne see the word, right? And what happened is my mom and my aunt would go and help. And so we'd be drug along because it was, during the summer, to the public library, the studio room, because what he liked to do when we were kids is he would like to have us come up and say hi. So technically I've been on TV, which is the weirder thing to say about me.
But is that where you kind of started learning how to work AV and work audio-visual?
Yeah, because my mom, because they had a whole bunch of classes like, oh, here's how to use cameras, oh, here's how to do AV. I never actually did any of those classes, ironically enough. I just learned it. And so growing up, it was like, okay, here's how you use a camera. But that then moved into AV for church.
Okay, so you ran the AV at home at your church?
Yeah, because it was my uncles. They were the ones who, because, my grandfather started it, right? People needed to learn it. And my uncles were the ones who were like, all right, you guys get to go learn how to do tech and all that, which, to be fair, they already knew tech, right? They that's what they got their degrees in and certifications in. So they're like, all right, we can do this. Here's the networking, here's mixing, here's presentation switching and stuff like that. And I was just in the middle of it, and they're like, okay, press this button. I'm like, okay, dink.
Well, you're very resourceful, which is very engineering mind-like. I mean, to me, that's a huge part of engineering is figuring out how to do stuff.
I mean, a lot of engineering is problem solving.
So you graduated from OC, and then you were looking for a job. How'd that go? Like,
people probably would hate the fact that I literally senior year had no idea what I was doing at the beginning of it, and then I started talking to a friend who goes here to Memorial. She's in the Reach class. She referred me to a job at Boeing, and then January of 2020. I got the interview, and then 2 weeks later, I got the job offer. This is right before the 737 crash.
Wow.
And so what happened was that I got my job, and then the crash happened, and then they had a hiring freeze. So for 3 months, I actually didn't even know if I had a job, because I had no one to contact. I had no idea what was going on, and COVID just started.
Yeah, lovely.
And so it was just like one of those things, like, do I have a job? I hate talking about it because I only had one job interview.
And you've been with Boeing ever since?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My 5th year. I will reach 5 years in 4 days.
What is your life like outside of work, Josh? What do you do for fun?
Oh, I'm really busy. It's a lot of church.
Church is most of the time that you take?
Because there's small groups. Originally, I had 2 small groups, and then there's Wednesdays. If I'm not doing that, I find a way to hang out with friends.
Yeah. So when your friends get together, what do you guys do?
I would say it's a lot of the games. Either board games or video games, or that one satanic thing called Dungeons and Dragons.
Is that one of the games that you guys play mostly?
Yeah, I've been doing that since freshman year of college.
D&D. Are you a campaign writer? Do you like to lead the campaigns, or do you like
a dungeon master?
The dungeon master, yeah.
I've done it twice. I'm currently one, and then I was one in sophomore.
I don't know how D&D, I feel like it made a resurgence, and I don't know that there's a connection necessarily directly linked to the show Stranger Things. Yeah, I don't know that there's a complete link to it or not, but I know they played on that, and that was a big deal.
I will say that when it came to us, as I mentioned before, our friend Colton, he was really the one who wanted to do it, and I think it was really just he wanted to spend time with people, right? And I that's what people. I think that's what people kind of forget is D&D is really just, hey, I want to spend time with you. We're just gonna hang out, have fun. Like half the time, you're goofing off, or you're jokingly describing a situation, right? Or someone does something out of the ordinary, and it's just really funny, and you laugh about it, right? And those become little moments.
It's all your imagination. I mean, that's what blows me away. I've played a couple of times with my kids. And I've been fascinated because the campaign leader will just kind of tell the story, and they're making it up, talking about what you're doing, and then you have this decision time, and you just kind of freelance, right? You're using your imagination. Well, I'm going to go do this, and you roll the dice. Like, it's pretty fascinating. So Dungeons and Dragons is something you love to do. You also like to play video games. Yeah. Can I ask you about video games? Well, let me ask you this. Did you play video games when you were a kid?
All the time.
What were some of your favorite video games when you were a kid?
Halo, I know was the big one. But that was one of those ones where it was like you could get a couple of friends together, and I would do that with some people in my neighborhood. And like Minecraft, that was really, really big, right?
I loved Minecraft.
I love Minecraft.
It was a good time.
I still love Minecraft. I remember that was really big, middle school and high school. So Mitch just had his anxious generation about gaming, right? And I was slightly against it because he was kind of throwing two different things at each other and saying that they're bad. And I was like, there's a lot of good that comes out of video games.
What would you say is some good that comes out of it?
Believe it or not, community. When you initially think of like, oh, Fortnite, oh, Call of Duty, oh, Apex, oh, this and that. You're like, yeah, sure. People, when you think about the ones that are like killing, yeah, those ones, from a Christian standpoint, probably shouldn't. Even playing casual games, right? Like we just celebrated a friend's birthday party and we played a game called Pico Park. It's a video game. It's co-op. We could do it all on the couch. There were 6 of us.
Yeah.
And that's where games become a medium for just hanging out.
I understand there's addiction things. There's all of those types of negative things that could come in as far as feeling like I need to be entertained and I can't shut it off. There's all those things. I mean, there's lots of things we could say about it. There are some positive things. One of those things, like what you're saying. So let's talk about Memorial. Let's talk about your work here at Memorial. I was put on to you very quickly saying, Josh is your man. You want him back here. He knows everything about it. How did you get plugged into AV at Memorial?
So when I finished up senior year and I was coming here to OC, I was really burnt out of AV. I was so tired of it because nothing I could do could get it to work. I could kind of get some stuff to work, very duct tape, but it was never fully enough, right? And I was super burnt out. College rolls around. I think I touch tech at OC once. And it's during fanfare, and it's playing around with the lights because there's BA auditorium. It was just interesting because I had never touched. They had a whole board that was dedicated to doing stuff with the lights, which was actually kind of cool. And it wasn't until junior year where I'd like to think that I matured a little bit in college. So when junior year reached, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna help. So I remember. I remember going back there one day after class, and I was like, "Hey, this problem, you can fix it this way." And I show them how to do it. And I'm like, "Hey, if you need help, I will be back here." And I think what's really interesting is it was never forced upon me, which I appreciate. My job, which mind you, I just spent 2 years saying this is not my job. Me being in the back helps you because you can then do your job. Mm-hmm. You're overloaded, right? And you don't take the time to sit down with people.
To step in where you can be used and using your gifts and allowing the ministers to do what they were given to do. So you plugged in during the campus ministry, but then you transitioned into the young adult ministry as well. How did you get involved there?
So when college rolled around, or when senior year rolled around, I was like, oh, I don't actually have anyone to take this from me. And I've basically created this job, right? All right, I'm going to teach you how to do this thing as your freshmen. Because they were freshmen at the time. I was friends with them. Over senior year, I started teaching them. And then COVID happened. And then they all disappeared. I was like, oh. I don't have anyone to replace me. One of the people that I was teaching did come back after an extended COVID break, and he was thankfully he was like, hey, oh yeah, I'll help, and so I was able to finish kind of helping teach him, and then I was like, all right, bye.
I mean, I know you in the young adult ministry. You sit in the back, and what is in it behind the booth back there? What is the work in the back of the room?
Maybe it's just the fact that I've been doing it for so long, but I'm like, it's pretty easy. I mean, the one mic, that's pretty easy, right? It's just you. Sometimes, we get a little crazy, get a second mic for someone, right? Which is just the same thing, right? Everything's all set up. Everything's dialed in the way that I want it. When I felt more comfortable letting go of campus, I think I had a small period where I was just helping young adults. And then at that point, after a bit, I was like, okay, one of the guys who was on rotation, what normally happens for AV is there's a series of rotations for people. I think someone in the second service, they ended up moving, and so that spot was empty, and they're like, hey, can you help with this? I'm like, sure.
I'm so glad that you're plugged into there. It's an important place. Like you said, in campus ministry, the leaders couldn't do their part if you weren't back there. And it's the same way with worship on Sundays. There's always a team in the back that are helping, and you're a part of that team. Of course, you're involved in small group. Tell me about the small group you're involved in.
I would say it's been a great time.
Yeah. Who leads the small group?
I think technically, if you considered like a host role, like a leadership role, I think it's like the Bransons. I think if you had to fill it with a spot, it was that.
I think your group is called the OGs.
Yeah, it's because it's the oldest, one of the oldest. I think it's actually the oldest small group because it started like before 2020.
You're in the Dwell class?
I switched.
You switched to launch.
Yeah. I thought it was time.
What we always say is you can go to whatever young adult class you want. And right now we have 2 classes. We have the launch class. We have the Dwell class. You, when they initiated the Dwell class, you decided to go with that class. And now you've come back to the launch class. Why did you make that choice?
So originally I joked that I would spend like 6 months in Dwell and 6 months in launch. 6 months in launch. And I would figure out which one I'd like better then.
And your thought was, I could get to know both groups if I spend equal amounts.
And people in launch are like, oh man, there's so many people in launch. Oh man, there's so many people in launch. I never see these people. I was like, there'd be like, I'd go to activities. I'd never see these like new faces. I'm like, are you guys just making this up? Like, you guys say you have 100 people in launch. I never see them in anything. I want to know who these people are. The secondary thing that happened was more like Dwell was turning into like the married with kids kind of scenario. And me as a single person, I was like, I still have friends that are single in there.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a very healthy mindset. I love that you wanted to kind of get to know everybody. And that's one of the things that our young adult ministry is really all about, is having a big group of people that are young adults in their 20s and 30s, but they are going to represent all 3 of those stages. They're going to represent single, marrieds, and marrieds with children. And that's just part of life. And there's even some singles with children. Mm-hmm. That's okay. I mean, I think it's where we have a big group of people who are, at least we're in the same age bracket.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm still having that challenge with launch. I'm like, there's still a lot of people I don't know.
Yeah. I've got one final question to ask you.
No. Go ahead, sorry.
Often I see you, and you are wearing the hat that you're wearing. It's like I'm just going to describe it. It's one of those hats that golfers from the 1800s wear. I just love it. Mm-hmm. I just think it's cool. How did you get to start wearing that? Like, where did that come from?
So I started wearing hats a lot in 2021, 2022. But I wanted a nice hat. It was just one of those things where I saw it and I'm like, oh, it was kind of cool. It was really it. It was just like, oh, it looks kind of cool. And then I just started wearing it. People were like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I was like, all right, people like it.
Where do you buy these caps? I mean, is there a specific
just
hat?
Target.
Just at Target?
I don't want to go after like the really expensive ones. I'm just like, that's good enough. A lot of people ask about, I've had this conversation with someone before, is like, why do I wear a hat in the house of God?
So do you wear it during worship times? You wear it all the time?
I take it off during prayer. What are your thoughts on having your head covered during praise, worship, being in the house of God?
A lot of people come down on it being a cultural thing. Mm-hmm. Which I appreciate, because even in our culture where, the younger generation might say it's not a big deal. Wear a hat anytime you want. I see people in ball caps all the time, but there is that respect as well for the older generation who really struggle with it, who see it as a biblical thing. And so there's a balance there that we have to carry. And as a young adult, how to respect older adults, that's an important thing to consider. Well, Josh, you're such a good guy, man. I'm so grateful that you're a part of the young adult ministry here at Memorial.
Oh, I know I'm terrible and horrible and all that. You don't have to tell me.
No, you are truly a blessing here. And I don't think people understand actually how much of a blessing you are here, because you sit behind the AV booth many, many times when we are gathering.
Or I'm just in the back.
Or in the back. Thank you for all that you've done here and continue to do. And if you're listening, I would encourage you to get to know Josh. He's a great guy. If you see him in launch, just go over to him. He's not going to intimidate you. He's a very friendly.
So, some people do say I bite, but I promise I don't.
No, you do not bite. He's a very friendly guy.
Only Devin.
So introduce yourself to Josh, and Josh, of course, he's probably going to introduce himself to you, I'm sure, as well. But also, you might have to go to the back to introduce yourself to him sometimes because he's standing back there.
I will say, though, if you come to the back and go, okay, yes, what's your problem?
Don't take offense.
Are you the one teaching today? Like I've people who have come to the back. I'm like, you're generally here for that. So
start off the conversation with, I'm not teaching. I'm just here to meet you.
Yeah. Are you doing announcements? Are you doing songs? What are we doing here? What's your list of songs?
Awesome. Well, Josh, thanks for your time. Thanks for being on the Young Adult World podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. I hope this conversation was meaningful to you. Come find us on Instagram. Our profile is Young Adult World Podcast. Tell us what you connected with during our podcast today. This podcast is part of the Young Adult Ministry at the Memorial Road Church of Christ in Edmond, Oklahoma. Come join us sometime. There's plenty of room for everyone. If you want to reach out to us, don't hesitate to email us at youngadultworldpodcast@gmail.com. And we are so grateful for Jacob Staten. Jacob is a young adult who edits this podcast for us and keeps this thing going. So thanks, Jacob. Okay, guys, see you next time for another Young Adult World conversation.